Hey everyone, we're back with another exciting episode of the Crumbling Foundation. But before we get to that, a couple things I'd like to go over real quick. First, y'all are amazing. I know, I'll say that again at the end, so I won't say it too much, but y'all are amazing. All of you here on screen playing with us, all of you in the chat, hi, we love you. We're so grateful that you're here. It really means a lot to us. Second, if you enjoy what you see here or anything else that we put out, you can find all of those amazing people and all of these amazing people and more amazing people over on our Discord, because we have one of those. The link should be below in the About section, and there you can meet a bunch of amazing, just human beings, fantastic human beings. Well, at least one group of squirrels in a human costume, who you can also see on our Thursday D&D game, Rega, as well as phenomenal creatives, fantastic GMs, amazing players, actors, voice actors, and just game designers, talented minds of all kinds. Go check it out. It's great, and we'd love to have you. We're building a really good, small little community. We're going to be having some community games running in the new year. We've been prepping a few of those. Some are really exciting. Way more games of leverage in different flavors than I thought we would have, but like so excited for it. Really, really great. Second, if you enjoy this, there's a couple ways you can support us. Obviously, you can follow us here. You can hit the subscribe button. Both are cool. We also have a Ko-Fi. On our Ko-Fi, we have a number of different membership tiers that you can pick from, which offer different cool rewards. That's things like naming rights for NPCs and locations, but access to behind-the-scenes shows that we film for all of our series and one-shots. That's all of us sitting down afterwards once a month and talking about the things that have happened so far, which we're going to be recording tonight actually afterwards, and I'm really excited about that too. So that's cool. All the way up to at our highest membership tier, you get access to a like randomized once a month lottery draw where the winner can have a custom character designed for them in whatever system it is that they're looking for. We've got some really cool creative minds who understand a lot of different systems, and if we don't know it, we'll learn it if we can. But the coolest part is it does come with art completely free of charge from our in-house artist, Miss Moon, who we absolutely love. She's amazing. Everyone involved is amazing, and we are excited to send that your way. If you can't, don't, or won't use Ko-Fi to support us financially, that's fine too, because we have free stuff on there. Maps, items, I'm going to be posting up a free Kids on Bikes module, hopefully at the end of this week. Things get delayed a little bit, but it is coming, I promise, called One Night at Ollie's, which is a Five Nights at Freddy's inspired Kids on Bikes module. And so far, for the people I've run it for, I've heard great things. So not to toot my own horn, but I hope you will enjoy, completely free of charge. We're also going to have a bunch of other stuff coming up in the new year. And hey, Rev, the squirrel is in chat. Anyway, we're also going to have Tales Tuesdays taking place on there. That'll be starting tomorrow, which is really, really exciting. That's where I write up a story and then leave it open-ended, let everyone vote on Twitter about what happens next, and then next week we continue from whatever y'all decided is what you want to see. It's been a lot of fun. It's been on hiatus for a little bit lately. We're finally bringing it back. We're so excited to do so. I think that's just about everything that I have to cover. And if not, the banana will yell at me, I'm sure. But until that happens, let's take a moment and introduce our amazing cast, and then we will get to tonight's episode. First, let's start with JD.
I knew it. I was prepared this time. I'm never prepared when I go first, but I'm sort of prepared this time. I am JD. I'm playing Dr. Zachary Ryan. He is one of our two science nerds who is in way over his head in his first real dangerous mission outside of Site 26. You can also find me primarily with Live from the Apocalypse. I'm being stolen for this game and perhaps for other games in the future by Tales from the Table. But you can find me in Class Reunion Winter Break, and Academy H, which is our Masks actual play podcast. So definitely check out all of those. And I think that's it for now, at least for things I have to currently plug.
And then I will toss it over to Jack.
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm Jack. You may know me a little while back now, but we're getting back to it. For my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered. A little bit of rebrand right now. We're moving into the full RPGs Uncovered title, which represents pretty much exactly what I do. It's a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. We have a number of fantastic games and tutorials and actual plays and various talks about those games over on our YouTube. You can just go search RPGs Uncovered in the search bar, and if you like what we do, go ahead and hit that like or subscribe or whatever the metric is over there, so I can work towards an actual custom URL, because that would be super easy. You can also find me over on Twitch. As I said, we are getting back to season 4 of RPGs Uncovered in January, early January, first or second week. Casting for that is well underway. I'm talking to some people, so things are on schedule. Cyber Rats is a mix between, let's say, XCOM meets Shadowrun without all the nitty-gritty crunch that you have to deal with associated with a lot of those games. A lot more narrative prompt mechanics, a lot easier to get through, and a fantastic story for us to run through. And I'm super excited for a number of potential players and cast members. We're going to get in on that. So it's going to be great. If you want to hear more about that, come hang out with me on Twitter at RPGs Uncovered. And I have my own Discord as well. You can find all of my links over there. You can also find me here pretty much every Monday, perhaps doing other things with the fantastic Lion Knight. And then you can also find me on Tuesdays. That's tomorrow, every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. EST, depending on how everyone's doing that day, for some Star Trek adventures. We are coming up to the conclusion of season 2, but this is a great time to jump in because it is action-packed. We got a lot of things coming together, which means a lot of recap and a lot of really interesting interpersonal and character growth moments. So if you want some sort of utopian action, adventure, cerebral, sci-fi fun to go ahead with whatever paranatural nonsense we get up to tonight, come hang out over on twitch.tv/Studio Tembo tomorrow, and keep an eye out for RPGs Uncovered. All right, I've talked long enough. If we're going in the order I think Lion's going in, I think I'm throwing it over to Tal.
Nice.
Hello, my name is Tal Woodblaze. I am predominantly a TTRPG game designer and writer of adventures. Currently have a Ko-fi, which is a monthly membership, and this month, as it's coming up for the festive season, you can bag yourself a couple of interesting 101 pleasant, useful-ish presents for your D&D party and an adventure as well. So go check out there. It's the Gamer's Rest. And tonight I'll be playing the fantastically enigmatic Jackson Kennedy, who is the medic of the group.
Excellent. All right, let's go to the Eye.
I am the Eye. As I have been mentioned before many times, I only am found here. I will not go into the same grandiose explanation of what I do and who I am like some others here, because I do nothing else. This is what I do right here. And I am playing Lieutenant Liam MacCern, who is very angry at a specific person in this party. But we still where that goes.
I'm pretty sure that's Jackson, right? It's Jackson.
Yeah,
Right,
fucking hate that Englishman.
You say specific, but I can think of 3 people that could
That
possibly be
is
in trouble.
valid.
Yeah. Right, Zoe, you're up.
All right. Hi, I'm Zoe, or Zoe Trooper. I'm doing my best. I'm sick voice today. Like, tell me in the chat if it's convincing enough. Just you got to practice things, right? I play the other science nerd, Zura Von Brandt, who is the mathematician in the party. Her secret's been out. She has an SCP kind of tagging along. Let's not mince words. It's definitely an infection. So that's something that the group has had to deal with in the last episode. You can find me here every Monday on Tales from the Table Studios doing this SCP game. Super happy to be here. I'm also a part of Hollowed Haven Studios. Right now we're taking a little break from any kind of long form games because it's the holidays. But in the New Year's, there's a bunch of exciting stuff like Scion game. I got to play on one on the last weekend and it was super great. So fun game, fun system, superheroes. And in the new year, you will be able to find me in Cyberpunk Red Game at Component Cast. So check them out as well. Super great people. That's it for me.
Awesome. All right. Get back to a Crumbling Foundation. When last we left our heroes, agents, who knows really? It's a difficult question to answer in the world of the SCP. When we last left our agents, things had yes, glitter should be classified as an SCP. When we last left our agents, the group had begun to find small fractures within themselves, sent out almost ramshoddenly the field agent group to research the disappearance of Charlotte Williams in the veranda, Manhattan, New York. Quickly, the team was able to find that there was far more going on here than simply someone vanishing. Strange things stuck all over her walls in her apartment, completely devoid of furniture, food that didn't seem to spoil when it went far past its expiration date, and a strange something in the basement. Well, Agent Hart took it upon himself to go to that basement and see what was going on there, and in doing so, found himself in a very unique position, staring down a figure he has slowly started to become familiar with. First having seen outside the park across from the building, and now in this painting, at least for now. And though perhaps unbeknownst to the rest of Agent Hart's party, Agent Hart has been attempting to make contact. Now, even without that little bit of information, Lieutenant MacCern has been very, very upset about the way that Agent Hart has been handling things and has not had any issue letting him know. It did at one point come to blows, but hopefully we've moved past that. Meanwhile, the team also got the added stress of learning that Dr. Zura Von Brandt is not alone in the worst way possible, perhaps, with a strange friend that no one else seems to be aware of and a fear of open use cell phones. Something is amiss here. Jackson, in the meanwhile, Captain Kennedy, found himself in a very strange breaker box room that ended up coating him in some kind of strange black sludge, which when tested came back as having a mixture of a number of different genetic samples from residents of the veranda. And poor Dr. Ryan, pulled in so many different directions, not sure where to go or where to stand. And with that, we return tonight. Now, if I remember correctly, the group had reached a consensus on what the plan was with the strange, now open arc in the basement, correct? And what was that?
I do believe that Lieutenant MacCern and Hevard Hart was going to go to the Ark and send a drone into it before we decide whether or not we're going to explore it ourselves.
Jackson, I think at this point we can say you have comfortably finished your shower and are getting yourself into a new fresh pair of clothes. I assume the old ones are bagged and tagged.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our great science nerds, what are the two of you up?
I think Zach is if anyone is noticing what Zach is doing, it would strike at least Jackson. I think Liam is otherwise occupied. But in sharp contrast to Zach's nonchalance and excitement when we started, which involved him not properly checking his weapons or anything else, he is almost obsessively going through his gear, like checking and rechecking everything, and seems very serious and subdued compared to how he seemed when this investigation started.
That's my boy. They grew up so fast. Oh.
And Zura?
Oh, for Zura's part, she is on the edge of a full-blown like panic attack after calling the higher ups about her discovery and the disappointment that was that came from that. She could be removed from field work, which would be really tragic for her. Worse yet, just stuck in a cell for the rest of her existence, which would also really suck. So a lot is hinging on whether or not this goes off without a hitch. If I do turn out to just infect everyone here, that's obviously a huge issue. So yeah, she's definitely like thumbing her like the burner phone, like kind of a post-stress reaction after the phone call, but also trying to just focus on the arch and what we have to do next.
And Agent Hart, you've already gone back and gotten your drone, correct?
Yes.
So I think as the camera sort of pulls in, we sweep past everyone. Jackson getting ready, Zura just kind of fidgeting with the phone. Dr. Ryan sort of just obsessively over and over again going over each piece of gear. What do we see from Agent Hart besides him returning to the rest of the group?
Well, Hart would walk up with a small black case, latches on it, walking up to the group, still impeccably dressed as always. I don't think there's any major change in his appearance or demeanor since he left to his vehicle to go grab this extra piece of gear.
And Lieutenant MacCern.
I'm just waiting for Hart to come back.
And obviously you will notice as Agent Hart returns.
Without a word, as soon as Hart's within eye shot, MacCern's gonna start making his way back into the apartment building, expecting Hart to follow.
Down through the basement, I assume.
Yes.
Wonderful. So is everyone going to be going down there, or is it just the two of you going in for this part?
I'm gonna grab Zura and just be like, hey Doc, you got a minute?
Yeah. What's up?
Couple of thoughts about this substance. Maybe we'll try a couple of experiments on it.
Sure, but I have a feeling I should be down with the MacCern and Hart as they go with the drone. Just a little inkling. What are your thoughts, though?
Talk to me about this inkling. And when I say talk to me about this, I mean just be honest with me.
The thing that I don't really have super clearance to tell you about now, which I'm sure will be explained to you when we get back.
Yeah.
Seems to be indicating that is the place to go. And while I'm not one to like obey it, if that makes sense, I am
that will raise an eyebrow. Like the word obey. Like,
perhaps the wrong word. I typically it's not something I really pay much heed to, but we've been in kind of a stressful situation, and they seem to be indicating this is where to go.
Go on then.
Right, thank you.
And I'll then lean out and look for Zach, and I'll go, Doctor. I can't call you Doctor Number 2. That just doesn't work, does it? Okay, you're going to be the professor from now on, just so I can distinguish between the two of you. I could do with a hand with a couple of things.
Sure. What sort of things?
I'm going to do some experiments on this goo. It'll be fine. Just need someone who knows what they're doing.
I study social sciences. I don't
Brilliant.
know much.
You've been in a lab. Come on.
Yeah, sure, Captain. I mean, Jackson. Yeah, sure, I could do that.
Wonderful. Okay. So breaking up into 2 groups then? Wonderful. It's always my favorite thing in any game. So the 3 of you head back to the basement. Door opens easily enough. Who has the key again? Just so I'm aware. Lieutenant MacCern. All right. So key goes in, easily opens, and you find yourselves going back down that hallway. As you reach the sort of open space with the doors and the arch, you are hit by what is now a far more potent smell of paints and rot and oils and that sort of like atmospheric, like ozone smell, sort of mixed in this terrible cacophony that assails your sense of smell, with what seems like maybe even a hint of that sort of stale sweat. Beyond that, though, nothing seems to have changed here. There is no... the room that Jackson had been in does not have any of this ichor. And while there doesn't seem to be any light in the room, you can make out the faint outline of the breaker box on the wall. The door to Mr. Moore's room is still closed, but you do see the little bit of the snake cam stuck underneath the door, and the arch stands just almost shimmering as you get closer to it. The smell clearly coming from inside. The torch is still flickering, perhaps even a bit taller, larger, fiercer than they were when you were down here before. But beyond that, nothing. In fact, what is everybody's intelligence perception pool look like? That's what it
2 d8s and a d10.
Same.
And Zura?
4 d8s and a d10.
All right, Zura, it dawns on you that, this is Manhattan. This is not too far from the water. And this is the basement to a large building that has, as you've noticed, not been the best upkept. But being down in this basement, you haven't seen any pests. No mice, no rats, no bugs. Nothing.
I would attribute that somewhat to the ozone, the scent, and probably keeps animals away. I will actually point that out to the rest of the group, and I'll be like, whatever this is emanating is making the place devoid of pests.
What would you like?
Is SCP-1471 still standing outside the arch or waiting for me, or has it have they head off?
No, it just seems to be gone. It's not an uncommon occurrence. It pops up, bothers you, and then leave.
The lieutenant's gonna put himself about. So you have the arch, and then how far back until another wall?
You can get about 20 feet back before you're
Okay.
at the hallway and the walls that come jut out.
So Liam's gonna take a knee, pull out his assault rifle, and just watch the arch while Mr. Hart does his job.
Okay. So I will go over. I assume there's not a conveniently placed table in this little basement hallway. So I will squat down, making sure not to get my my very expensive pants scuffed and dirty on this floor. And I will open up the case. Inside there is a drone, like a medium-sized drone. There is a tablet and there is what looks like a VR headset. I'm going to take the VR headset and put that on, not all the way, just on top of my head. I'm going to take out the tablet and I'm going to set that up, and I'm actually going to tie in the camera feed from the drone, the snake cam, and my night vision camera, which is currently watching at this point all of us. Tie that into the tablet, and I'm just going to hold it out, expecting one of the other two to take it.
Zura will
waiting a
help.
while.
Yeah, Zura will help because I have a feeling MacCern is somewhat irate with you.
Mm. All right, I'll hand Zura the tablet, and I'm going to take this drone out. I'm going to take another one of my fake business cards and just kind of stuff that in there. And I'm going to take a burner phone, and I'm going to call my other burner phone. Well, I assume this drone has, we've established previously that this drone does have sound, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to do that.
Yeah, you're good.
No, but it does have one of my fake business cards going to a burner phone.
I have a question. Do your business cards all have the burner phone numbers on them, or this is a personal number?
Various burner phones.
Okay, very
Yeah.
cool.
And I think with that, I'll turn it on, pick up the remote, throw down the headset, and take it off
Do you
into
think
the
it
air.
could support like extra items? Hold on to them.
Potentially, as long as it's not something too terribly heavy, it should be able to carry something similar to a camera, recorder.
If that's the case, I would like to affix either my EMF reader or my Geiger counter to the drone. Just kind of leave those on.
Okay, you said your Geiger counter and what?
EMF reader, I
Okay.
think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can do that. Yeah.
Sweet.
Watch that battery power go like this as soon as you send it out.
Just lose everything in there. Oh.
Well, there is a distinct possibility that this thing loses power or communication the moment it passes through this threshold.
It could. Perhaps tie a string to it.
I think that might limit its mobility a bit.
Well, the only way to get it back would be to go in that case, if we wanted those readings. It's just a thought.
Well, let's move it a bit down the hallway, and see if it does immediately lose signal, it'll just be a few feet in.
A few.
I kind of look over to Lee MacCern, and at this point, just like, just a few feet in is fine.
The lieutenant currently is making a lot of noise as he is basically creating a rockshod barricade. There's slamming of shelves and tables and
Well, there's
making a bit
no
of
tables over there.
there's
There's
just
like
shelves.
there are like one or two shelves on the wall. If you want, you can like pull off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. And suddenly, like he notices Zura looking over him. He's like, "What?"
Oh, sorry. We were having a discussion about sending the drone in. If it loses power as soon as it gets in, is it okay for us to go in to retrieve said data?
I'm sure Hart would.
I'm gonna fly the drone in through the archway.
As the drone's flying in, Liam's gonna go, "I'm sure Hart would volunteer for that sort of thing."
Fair. I certainly know that I would not invite anything else.
And at almost the exact minute is when you hear the whirring of the drone as it rises and begins moving down.
So this hallway on the other side of the arch, it looks like an old castle dungeon, right? It's
It
stone
does.
block, it's torches.
Correct. Yeah.
Are there doors along the end, or does it along the sides, or does it just go down and disappear into darkness?
Just goes down into another one of those arches with darkness beyond.
Okay.
So, as the drone begins to move through the arch, you see the drone take on that same, for a moment, sort of shimmering effect that you're seeing at the door of the arch. And then it passes through and continues. And as it does, using the cameras and whatnot that are equipped to it, it's easy enough to see that it is, like you said, a very traditional sort of castle dungeon-esque building, whatever this is. It's nothing like the rest of the veranda or really anything else that you've seen in modern day outside of, again, the exponentially rich folk who have in fact converted castles into their homes. It's just these like unevenly layered bricks. However, you can remind me, is it full color or is it black? Is it night vision? Is it
From what we established from our pre-streaming stuff,
Yeah.
I believe it has the full suite. It has
Great.
color, it has infrared, it has the whole like Splinter Cell flip through, like the whole
excellent?
thing,
Yeah.
whole package.
Great. So yeah, you can see the whatever it is between each of the bricks has almost like an old rust color, like just barely reddish brown instead of what you would expect to see, especially given the time period this looks like it's from. The torches themselves seem like they are made of a brass or some other kind of very brightly colored metal held onto the wall by similarly colored little like grips. It looks like it would be easy enough to pull one off were you tall enough to reach them. They
Now,
are
are
about
these
7 feet up.
are these torches or are these sconces?
No, they are torches on. They look like sconces, but they are removable and are clearly like torches.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you proceed further down, you see some of the stones have been scratched at or chipped away at, most likely just years of wear and tear, which would make sense most of the time, although how much of any of this makes sense, it's hard to say. The closer that you get, though, to the arch on the other end, it becomes clear to you that that darkness is not letting up. It was not a distance issue. Whatever is beyond it is purposefully obscured. And as you get within 5 feet of it, you see what look like long, raking scratch marks in the stone, pulling down from almost the top of this 12-foot high tunnel to the ground. And just about there, I think our camera cuts back over to Jackson and Zachary. Why don't you tell us how the camera finds you? What are the two of you?
So bent over the computer laptop in the back of the van, and several petri dishes with this oozing gooey substance on it. And me just kind of turning to Zach and going, did you ever make a clock that was powered by a potato in high school?
Yes.
That's what we're going to test out here. Can you pass me one of those torches?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
So
Are you using torches in the British sense?
as in like
Yeah.
flashlight?
Like a flashlight for us
Sorry.
uncultured Americans.
yeah, flashlight. Sorry.
Figured I'd save the audience some confusion.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah,
We're
because
gonna
Zach didn't
burn
bat
it.
an eye. Zach was just like, oh, yeah, it must be in the British way. It's fine.
Yeah, sorry.
All good.
I'm just going to kind of take it apart and get the bulb and a couple of wires and just then attach the wires to the goo just to see what happens.
So you excuse me. You take these wires and you just sort of push them into I assume you're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
And you push it into the goo, and for a moment, nothing happened. And then after about 20 seconds, you see very small bubbles begin to sort of push their way up, out from the center of it. Up. But that's all.
Can I roll with science to see if I can figure out what that might mean?
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right. Right. That is going to be, trying to do math in my head. That is going to be an 18.9.
Ooh, very nice. All right. Well, you already know that there is blood in whatever this goo is. And blood does, at least to a certain extent, conduct electricity. But it seems like whatever other substances are in here are clearly diluting that effect. And what's happening is, for one reason or another, any of the oxygen left in that ichor seems to be sort of pushing its way out. What that could mean is a number of different things. It probably, the most likely assumption you could make is that whatever this is doesn't contain much or any salt or anything similar that would make it conductive. Nothing that would react.
And so Zach definitely relays that to you, Jackson, and then asks, or says, you were wanting to see if maybe this was what was giving the building the juice. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, finding it all in the basement where all the kind of breakers are and the electricity, I kind of wondered if this was where all the power was coming from, but it's not doing what I kind of expected it to do. Can you just have a look on the laptop? Is there any, we know there's DNA in it. Is there any other atomic information about what it's comprised of?
And I think as you're asking that, I assume you're removing the wires, or not yet.
Yep.
And as you pull them out, you notice that not only has some of the lining been corroded, but the ends of the wires seem coated in these small, fleshy bulbs, less than pea size.
Great.
I feel like Zach just holds up a bag and just like
Yeah.
lets Jackson put it in there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, none of this is normal, but that's extra not normal.
I
It's
mean, we did just see an arch appear out of nowhere in the
well,
basement.
yeah, I mean, I'm just more of a, things growing out of things with.
I mean, that's science.
Yeah. Yes, it is. See, this is fun. It's more fun than getting killed down in that spooky dungeon passageway that they're so keen to have a look through.
You say that, and Zach freezes and then just slowly looks like towards the basement door and is like, do you think that's what's happening down there? I mean, if you do, shouldn't we be down there? You're the medic.
What you got to remember is this is your first time out, isn't it? With all of these kind of field operations, there's a high element of risks. We're exploring things we've got no idea about, so people are going to get hurt, and I mean way above the average for any kind of field team. But we got to do it. We got to find out what's going on. We both know that if we don't, then something far worse could happen, and so I get why they're taking the risks. Just not that much of a fan of being down there when Hart seems so keen to go through that archway. I mean, super keen. I'm all for finding out what's going on before jumping in and risking my neck. Good intel is what keeps you alive. It's also the reason why secrets are bad. Very, very bad.
And Zach, I was gonna say Zach's been like following that and is like, as you say that, you can just see him kind of being like, do I have any secrets?
That was going to be my next question. Is anything you would like to tell me?
I mean, what sort of, I don't have an SCP attached to me.
That's a good start. I like that. That's, because that's the sort of thing we would tell each other, isn't it?
Yeah. What other things would we tell each other?
Anything that might end up getting us killed.
Stop interrogating my boy.
Real quick, we have a hydrate check. Hail hydrate. Thanks, Miss Moon. Just something to think on.
Well, I think at that actually, like when you say just like anything we should know, I think Zach just blurts out, the last field team I was with died.
Okay. So when I asked you, is this your first time out? That wasn't true, was it?
Oh, I wasn't working for the Foundation then.
Okay. Semantics, but I'll let you off on that one. Did they die from something you directly did?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know what killed them, but I don't think. Oh God, do you think I might have?
Okay, this is just about if something you did kill them because you kept a secret or you did something you shouldn't have done. That's the kind of thing I need to know about.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Shh, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Okay, it's fine. Just we're all new working together. We've got to set these kind of parameters. It's more secrets can get people killed. Okay, but you're doing a great job, and you're holding up well. I mean, doing better than the last team I worked with.
I think at this point the communication link would crackle and Liam would come over the line going,
Hey.
Hart sending in the drone. Just thought you two should know.
Has anybody died yet?
There's a long pause.
And I think that's actually the perfect time for us to cut back. So, Agent Hart, having encountered these long scoring scratch marks down the stone, you're only about 10 feet or so away from the next arch in the darkness beyond it. And it is about as you get there that you begin to hear through the microphone on the drone the soft ticking of the EMF reader.
Okay.
I will assume that the EMF reader and the Geiger counter make different noises to make that clear, which is what.
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Engineering.
If only I remembered.
It's still fairly low for now, but it is still a noticeable jump from what was complete silence only a couple of feet.
Okay. Well, I certainly know what that means, but for our audience, could you give us some examples of what would cause a more intense electromagnetic field and what that might mean to us?
Oh, well, there are a lot of things that could cause an electromagnetic field. That can be anything from a incredibly intricate bright LED display to well, based on where it's currently ticking, it probably isn't anything dangerous or that risks shutting down your drone or any other electronics in the area or having any direct impact on any of you physically. But it does mean that there is something creating an electromagnetic field in the area that is, again, sort of akin to a large, sort of like almost billboard sized LED display.
Okay. But outside of normal electronic stuff, we're not familiar with any like ghosts or crazy SCP
No,
EMF.
I think that it would be noticeably higher if this was a reaction to some kind of spirit or something to that effect.
There
Okay.
are natural like mineral formations that also kind of go off EMF stuff. But as the EMF reader is ticking, I am busily writing this stuff down, taking as much notes as I can.
Okay. And the lights on my drone, are they piercing through this darkness?
Not at all. It is just sheer perfect darkness, almost like a curtain is down.
So at some point we're going to get to a place where the camera is just not going to be useful.
Correct, unless going through the arch breaks through that.
Well, let's see. I will
Wonder.
sort of zigzag the rest of the way down this hallway, trying to triangulate, where this EMF reading might be the strongest, but I'm going to keep going.
Sure. And the levels continue to rise the closer that you get to the arch. No matter which direction you sort of point yourself at as you move forward, or as the drone moves forward, rather, it doesn't seem to affect the levels at which these are rising. As you get just about up against the arch, it is definitely at a point where you could comfortably assume that either this is some kind of very, very large spiritual nexus point or something along those lines, or worse, something that will definitely try your little buddy for you to get close. But again, and I think Zura would probably be the one who notices this. It is incredibly strange how quickly this has spiked in those 10 feet of difference.
Dr. Von Brandt, I assume you are reading this. Any thoughts on what this is or how to proceed?
Given the line of work we're in, this could be literally anything, but it is shocking how quickly it is spiked. I would worry about sending people in here with these levels. At least not without, protection.
Well, last I checked, I don't have too many cybernetic augmentations. Is this EMF field a danger to organics?
Vertigo, I think, is one of the issues with high electrical in your surroundings. Lion, may I make some sort of roll to be certain about this sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely you can. I think this will be a technology roll.
Okay, let's hope I have that. I do not. So I get to roll a d10.
You get to roll a d8 actually. Since you have,
okay.
Yes, you roll a d8 and then you'll add that 10th.
Oh, that's a beautiful 0.1.
Woo!
Luckily for me, I do have intelligence like mad, so let's start rolling.
Sure.
Oh, my 10 exploded.
Nice.
And it exploded poorly. 17.1.
Ooh, interesting. All right. So I think that seeing the results you're getting at the rate that you are getting them will tell you that whatever it is that is in here is very likely going to be hazardous to the at least the drone. It might make it through. It probably won't be able to go anywhere beyond the other side of that arch. You can also tell that because of the way that it seems to very minorly fluctuate, it's very unlikely to be any like traditional source. It's definitely going to be something anomalous because the way that it wavers doesn't line up with the way that radio frequencies and electromagnetic frequencies work in packets, which will leave you pretty confident that this is not going to be some kind of like giant tower that's just putting out frequency or any sort of large mineral deposit or anything that exists in the known common world, I will call it.
Zura is super good at defining patterns. May she do a pattern analysis on the EMF readings, like the wavering of it?
Absolutely. If you would be so kind. Let's see. What can we roll for this? I am going to say this will be
I have mathematics. I want to suggest that.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. I like that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so 18.6.
Y'all are killing it tonight. Let's go. All right.
It helps when you have like 5 d8s and 2 d10s to roll on intelligence rolls.
It's almost like you're a nerd.
I'm a big nerd.
So, you just kind of stand there, I think, in silence for a moment, just sort of listening and watching the way that it seems to. And as you're sort of notating as best you can how this is presenting itself, it sounds like, has Zura ever been religious in any way? Has Zura ever found herself in church or synagogue or any other place of worship?
I want to say yes. Probably in her early, like in her youth, right? Just with her family.
And I think what the conclusion that you come to is that the pattern of these fluctuations sound like chanting is not the appropriate term, but it's that very unique cadence of when people pray, that
Mhm.
very like consistent up down of the tonality of people's voices as they go through prayer.
Right.
It it's the only thing that really comes to you as being similar to this. I mean, it could be like maybe it's like a chant, but if it's a chant, it's a weird chant. It doesn't seem to match any engines that you could think of or any sort of nonverbal language patterns. But
Mhm.
that's a memory that sticks out is being a child with your parents in your place of worship and hearing the same sort of pacing.
Now, I did put points in art and music.
Mm.
Does that apply in this situation, or is this just like the closest thing I could possibly grasp?
I think this is the closest you could probably.
Okay. Okay. Given that, um, I just kind of drum my pen against the sheet along with it for a little bit, and then go, it's worship. It's a prayer. It's a hymn, I guess. Whatever is causing these readings is, it's strange. I think this is, as far as I can tell, a sort of religious thing.
Right. Well, I think we had some indication of that earlier, given strange runic markings and the way.
Mr. Hart, you can make assumptions based off of little data if you like. This is how I do things. And if I have decided that there's evidence enough to back it up, then I will tell you about it.
I appreciate that.
MacCern laughs.
Zura, real quick, what is your cognitive resistance?
Oh God, what a question. I don't like that.
It's like my favorite question to ask.
12.3.
12.3. Okay. Proceed.
I also don't like how you just said proceed. But yeah, she will continue working and just kind of paying attention. I feel a little bad. Everyone's picking on Hart, but there it goes.
Right up until his methods prove to work.
Mm-hmm.
Asian Hart, what are you going to do?
Well, I would prefer not to risk this drone. It costs more than what the rest of the team is wearing, so I'm going to bring it back.
Okay, yeah, and you have absolutely no problem pulling it back, and as you do, the EMF readings drop off significantly, and as you get like 12 feet away are gone.
Right. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get any further remotely. So unless we decide that this is enough to call it a day, we're eventually going to have to walk down that hallway.
Over the intercom. Drone's coming back. Large EMF readings. Pitch black darkness. You know, very inviting.
Let me guess. Hart wants to head down there.
Won't fucking shut up about it.
Or we could go home. Maybe grab a sandwich. I still have that coupon.
I mean, I could always eat a sandwich.
What time of the night is it at this point, my dear storyteller?
I would imagine that it's close to around 9 or 10 o'clock at this point. getting everything ready and prepping and doing all of this took a while.
Unfortunately, I believe that the Foundation would like us to proceed down this hallway. As much as I dislike the idea of doing that, I don't think that we have another course of action currently, unless you have one there, Kennedy.
Haven't really learnt much from the ooze. Only that when it comes into kind of metal, it seems to grow fleshy, strange, bulbous things. But it's not what's generating all that power. It's non-conductive. I would suggest it's worth looking again in the breaker room before you head down there. I didn't get a chance to have a proper look around. I think there was before I got swamped by that ooze, there was a metallic object stuck in the wall. Might be worth 5-10 minutes just scouting around in there before you head down the spooky ass hall that leads to, what do you reckon? I'll bet you $5 it's another dimension.
Well, if you want to send down Dr. Ryan, maybe Dr. Ryan and Dr. Brandt can take a look at the breaker room together.
You want me to go into the hall with you, don't you?
You think I want to go in alone without you?
Well, yep. As much as I hate to say it, I kind of knew this was coming. We'll be down in a sec. Anything you need from up here?
Well, if you have more ammo.
I'll bring you some. See you in a few.
So,
well then, Professor, let's you want to go and see what was down there. Let's go take a look.
Yeah, let's do it.
and I if I remember correctly, you had been wanting to look at what else may have been in this.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably what you've been up to in the meantime.
Yeah.
Just as you get that sort of invitation to head down into this scary ass hallway, registered trademark, you will see a number of things pop up on the sort of display screen for your little like mobiles like lab, and it looks like you're not that kind of scientist, so maybe you're getting it wrong, but it looks like the makeup for crude motor oil.
Interesting.
Just a lot of hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur. It maybe not your field, but that's what it seems to be.
Let me just have just gonna check my sheet because did I get some? Where is it? No, I didn't. I thought I might have. Thought I took some in engineering, but I didn't. So one more test before we head down.
Sure. Yeah. What were
So I'll
you
take
thinking?
one of the petri dishes outside. Just check that no one's around watching.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's like one or two people randomly walking by on the street across from you. You know, there's usually a couple stragglers in the park.
And I'm going to set the petri dish down and then strike up a match and just from a distance flicker match at the substance.
Sure.
Just to see what happens.
Flick the match and it falls in, and there is this burst as the match erupts in what looks like a black flame with a silver center, and it burns, and the smell coming off of it is horrendous. It is all of the same things that you smelled down in that basement. The paint. It is that sort of stale sweat. You get that ozone smell, the like turpentine, but there's also that very distinct copper smell that you get from like a lot of blood. Like if I mean, Jackson, you would know this. You've spent plenty of time around people who are in need of serious medical help, and it is a very distinct smell that you immediately recognize as the smell of a like a lot of fresh blood.
Much a bigger smell than you'd expect from such a tiny sample.
Absolutely. Not to mention, unless someone literally bled this out the moment before you showed up, there's no reason it should smell. And then the flame dies down, and the petri dish is obviously scored, but there's nothing left. Not ashes, not dust, burned, nothing.
Well, that's different.
I will say Zach like looks actively sick in response to this.
And the smell
And-
lingers, by the way. Once the flame dies down, it does not seem to disperse.
Well, I mean, I guess we know if we need to like burn this stuff, maybe a flamethrower would work.
It certainly burns up, but I'm worried about how it's so condensed. Like, there would have to be a lot of blood. And I don't just mean like, a cut or something along those lines. I mean, we're talking, there would have to be pints of blood for it to give off that kind of smell. How do you condense that down? How do you turn blood into this kind of oil?
Dr. Ryan,
Yes.
what is your cognitive resistance?
15.3.
Wonderful. I think standing there in this moment, you find yourself distracted. Because although very few may know this, you smelled that before too.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, I think you can hear almost like a ringing very faintly. You may not notice it, Jackson might, but your hands just a bit unsteady. And you hear in this moment where you're sort of pulled back to this traumatic moment in your life, something you hadn't realized or remembered, been able to recall, is this wet, fleshy, squishing noise echoing off the walls of the cave around you. It's not much, but it's new.
I think for you, Jen, you see Zach effectively just full on dissociate. Like you can tell he is not aware at all of his surroundings anymore. He is just staring off and probably not responsive if you try at all to get his attention.
Jackson just kind of like, kid. And he'll pull out his trusty kind of pen light and just shine it in his eyes just to see if there's any kind of dilation of pupils and the medical kind of stuff that he would know to do, but I don't know.
And I think initially Zach probably doesn't respond to that, but at some point when you're putting the light in his eyes, I think he kind of has no choice but to like come back and kind of jerks back and then just stares at you.
That was a hell of a reaction to a bit of smoke. You all right there, kid?
Yeah, I'm fine. We should get down to the basement, right?
You don't want to sit down for a little bit and just breathe it out?
No, I don't want to leave them down there any longer than we already have.
Okay. Go grab your stuff. And just very quietly, I'll just tap into the microphone just for the lieutenant's ears only. Well, that goo stuff is very flammable, and when I set it off, lost the kid for a little bit. Totally spaced out. No idea why, but concerning.
What do you mean spaced out?
Just gone. Nothing. No response. I mean, it stank. It was horrible, but shouldn't have caused that kind of reaction.
With my background, would I have any insight into PTSD, perhaps?
Do you have any points in psychology?
Yes.
How many?
1.4.
You could roll me a psychology charisma and we could find out.
At 8. So that's 7 plus 3 is 10, so 11.4.
Well, I don't think you have any formal training in it, but having done the job that you do both now and prior to this one, I think you definitely have a very basic grasp of at least what PTSD looks like and how to pull someone out of the immediate shell shock in the moment of whatever's going on. But beyond that, I don't think so.
Could it be shell shock? PTSD?
Well, the kid did just mention that all the people on his last team died when he was out with them.
That would fucking do it.
Yeah. More secrets.
Wait, I didn't. Do I have access to my teammates' files before we left?
You did not.
Well, I don't fucking have to change, god damn it. All right, well, I thought he hadn't been in the field before.
Before he came to us.
Wait, who did he work for before?
That is an excellent question. Oh, we've got some stuff to uncover if we're going to be working together for a while.
I find it kind of odd that I'm the one that's not in the Foundation, but yet I'm open about fucking everything. And yeah, these individuals
Yeah, but you understand that secrets get people killed.
Too.
We're on our way down. I'll see you in a few. And I'll just grab my gear and some extra magazines.
Sure.
And make our way down.
Great. And yeah, it's a easy walk. I don't believe anyone locked the door behind them, so you have free access. And as you enter, you do thankfully escape the outside smell, but are immediately accosted by the not much better one.
So while that was all going on, I'm going to go and rewind the drone video back to where I saw those scratch marks on the wall. And I'm going to go over to Dr. Von Brandt. Dr. Von Brandt, you are clearly quite adept at pattern recognition. Do you see anything in these scratch marks, or did the cat just scratch up the wall again?
Is there any like secret text in these scratch marks, or is it just like random?
No, it just looks like one, like a series. It's like 4 in a row, just arcing scratch marks deep into the stone, going almost from, like I said, the ceiling down to the floor in just a non-stop arc.
I linger on the image of the scratch marks for a second, and I just eventually shake my head and say, no, there's nothing to recognize here. It's just an animal scratching.
Very good. All right. Well, you never know how somebody is going to choose to relay a message.
And
Since we're waiting, because all of that I'm sure took plenty of time to do, I'm just going to fly the drone into the breaker room, have a look around.
Sure. And you bring the drone into the breaker room. Again, it's dark, so you have to activate the sort of night vision that you have on it. Will deprive you of color, but will give you a bit more detail. And much like when Jackson went in, it is a mostly empty room, long but not wide. On one side is the breaker box, large silver metal unit on the wall, with a thick pipe coming off of it and running along the walls towards the back, and eventually disappearing up through a hole in the ceiling. There is, however, as Jackson said, some kind of strange thing jammed into a break in the top of the pipe, a couple of near the corner that turns onto the wall the breaker is affixed. Beyond that, the room seems empty.
Okay.
How does my EMF reader do in here?
I forgot the EMF reader was still on the drone. Thank you.
Yeah.
It does begin to tick again. What you would expect at first from being in a room with these breakers and the live wires clearly running through. But as the drone flies deeper into the room, again, that reading seems to spike. Not as much as it did before, but noticeably significantly higher.
Okay.
In any particular area towards that pipe?
As you begin to sort of, I assume, veer it, as you search, you do find that they start ticking up noticeably as you get closer to that strange thing jutting out of the pipe.
I don't think we ever got building plans for this, did we?
You did
We did
not?
actually.
Did you?
Okay, we
Did
did.
we?
Wait,
I thought we did.
I will double check my notes. I could be
Please.
wrong. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Okay.
I am wrong. I apologize. Thank you, Zoe.
Thank goodness, because I was like, holy shit.
Nice.
So sorry.
Yeah, so I want to see if I can figure out where that pipe goes.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, you will have to sort of, it's going to be a bit difficult in here because there's nowhere to lay them out unless you're laying them out on the floor. But you can sort of pull out plans that I assume you have on you. If not, you'd have to go back to the car, but that's easy enough, or tell the other two to bring them. But regardless of how you get there, you are able to pull out the building plans, and it looks like the pipe will run up into a space between the basement and the first floor and out into the street where it connects to like the main lines.
Is it marked as a utility pipe of
It is, yes.
water, electric,
no,
gas?
electric. It's marked as an electric.
Okay.
Yep. Con Ed.
Okay. Well, Zoe still has the tablet with the, or I should say, Zura still has the tablet with the camera feed. Dr. Von Brandt, do you have any idea what this might be sticking out of this pipe?
Can I, given the camera footage, can I make some sort of roll to figure that out?
We could just also walk in there, but we're being extra precautious.
We could.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in particular you could roll here that would help you discern.
Okay. I had a fanciful idea.
I love fanciful ideas.
I have the EMF readings of this hymn, and I'm thinking about like trying to send a signal forth to respond.
Ooh. Okay.
Like it doesn't even have to be like a question or anything, but the hymn has a certain frequency, and I was going to respond back with something that isn't exact, but would complement it, and just see like if the EMF readings change.
Okay. So you will need two things. You will need something that you can use to send that signal back.
Mm-hmm.
And you will need to roll me either a music or a technology.
The music would work.
In order, yeah. Go ahead.
Something to send it in the vehicle, or do I have something that I can make that with on me right now?
You might be able to Frankenstein something by cobbling a couple of other pieces of tech together. I don't think that anyone has anything on hand that can send out signals like that, frequencies like that. Although anyone with at least the technology of one can attempt to do that. It is not going to be a particularly easy DC, but it is possible, and it is an idea that I wholly support.
We could just tape a phone to the drone.
You could
work there. I was going to call Dr. Zachary Ryan on this one, but if the phone will work. I do apologize. There seems to be a parrot SCP in my house.
That's right. They're just cheering you on. That's all. Crazy good idea. Which actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a moment, and I think I'm gonna give you reverence for that. I really, really like.
Ooh,
that.
okay. I love reverence.
Big fan of this. Yes. So for those who are the unaware, reverence is kind of like this version's inspiration, in that it can be used to help bolster dice rolls as you go.
Would Jack get one as well? Because he came up with the phone idea.
Yes, that is absolutely a good point.
Yeah.
Yes, Jack, get some reference too.
Hooray!
Reference for everyone. Let's do this. Do you want me to make my music roll now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Is this something we can set up using simple dial tone, or should we hook this up to a computer and actually synthesize some sort of?
I want to say I'll be more precise if I set it up to a computer and synthesize.
Yeah, I will lower the DC for you all if you do that versus trying to just phone to phone.
Oh, wow. Okay. I had 3 of my 8s explode.
Nice.
Whoa.
Of course, nothing came from that. So 16 let's see the decimal point. 18.9.
Nice. Yeah, if you take the time to use a computer to do this, it will take you a moment just to make sure that you're matching things up in a way that you feel would fit the same sort of tonality and flow. But as long as you keep it something simple, you're pretty confident you can match it. What exactly is it that you would like to have as your message?
Well, yeah, I'll sit there and I'll look at Hevard Hart for a moment and just go, is there something you want to say, or do we just want to see if contact can happen at all?
Well, I find hello to be an excellent icebreaker.
Sure. And I'll synthesize what I believe would be hello.
While she's doing that, I check my phone.
Nothing yet.
Okay, I put it back.
And what was it? Are you going to send the drone back in, or are you just?
It would make sense for the drone to fly back into the archway.
Sure, yeah. And Jackson and Dr. Ryan, I think the two of you come in just as you see the drone sort of fly back through the arch. You see that shimmering effect. And how close are you getting to the other arch?
To the point, pretty much to the point where I was at before, just before I knew it would start getting dangerous.
Great, yeah. And you play it back. Are you doing it a single time? Are you going to do it multiple times? What is the plan?
I want to say multiple times just to see if the fluctuation on the other side changes at all. If it doesn't after like a half a dozen times, then I stop.
Okay. So I think you get to 11 times that you have sent this out. And then on the 12th one, it is completely different. It is not the message that you programmed. It is not the hymn from before. It is on the same frequency, but now it sounds strange, different, wrong. It doesn't work out to anything. It's not a message that you can see in a pattern, but it does seem to follow some sort of tonality. And it plays again. It's slower. And again. Slower. On the fourth time, you all can hear through the static and the tick, tick, tick of the EMF reader very distinctly, I am waiting for you. And I think that's where we're going to take our break.
Oh.
Thank you so much for sticking with us through this first portion. We're going to take about 15 minutes to get up, go to the bathroom, stretch out, get some water, step outside, do a little dance, freak out over whatever the heck that was. But we'll be back here in about 15. Y'all should go do the same stuff. Take a break, walk around, stretch, bathroom, water, snack, anything you like, but be back here because we will return with the second half of A Crumbling Foundation, an SCP game. We'll see you soon. Hey everyone, we're back. Hope you had a nice break. We did. But we're back now. Real quick, two things. First, we had a hydrate check during the break, so we're gonna resolve that. Thanks, Wilder, for keeping us healthy. And I will also confirm that the eye had some before we got on. Second, something I want to go over as we get into this second half. Obviously, we are playing a horror game, and there will be a lot of horror elements throughout the course of the game. Some of the things that you may encounter as we are going through this is atmospheric horror, religious iconography, possible death and/or mutilation, and in the upcoming episodes, also the potential for self-mutilation. If at any point you are uncomfortable with anything that we are going over, feel free to step away. We'll always be back next week. If this turns out not to be something you're comfortable with or interested in, there are other shows we have as well. Remember, always take care of yourself, prioritize your well-being and your mental and physical health over everything else. We love you regardless, I promise. With that, let's get back into the second half of this episode. When we last left, I believe our wonderful group of agents had just received a response to the carefully crafted hello that they had sent out into the dark void beyond the second arch. And with that, I turn it back over to the group of you as this message plays again. I am waiting for you. And again.
I'm gonna take out a little notebook, just a little pocket notebook, and flip it open, and hold it over in front of Zura, and just write out, "Can you find a frequency to nullify this?"
That's a really good idea. I start working on that without actually responding to it verbally, but you can see me tapping away on my keyboard.
You're going to be rolling me a technology roll for that.
Oh gosh, and Zachary has just shown up, right?
Yeah.
I will show the image to, or the notebook to Zachary as well, and just be like, gesture over to the computer.
I'll write out as well, perhaps not just yet, but as a precaution.
Mm-hmm. And I will kind of like silently indicate to Zachary what I've been doing, and gesture to Hevard's notes and see if together we can come up with something.
And I think, Zach, because we've established you both can use sign language and we are trying not to say anything out loud, we'll just sign to Zura, yeah, I can help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. We're busy signing to each other and getting this done.
Sure.
But it's a technology role. I'm not great at that, but you're not great at it either.
Nope.
Can we help each other? How do we do this?
Yes. So what do each of you have for your technology?
0.1.
0.
You get to roll your D8. Get more than a 0.1.
Okay. I will allow one of you to roll for it with an additional D6.
Would my experience with computers and hacking at all help this?
Ooh, yes, absolutely it could.
There it is.
So do either of you have computer hacking?
Nope. I do have research internet, but I do not have computer hacking.
I also don't have computer hacking. I was not that kind of scientist.
Okay. So have it will require you to be fairly hands-on. What is the highest die that you have in int?
For myself, unfortunately, that's only a D8.
That's okay. Then Zura, since you have the 0.01 and Zachary does not, you will make the roll. You will get to add a d6 and a d8 to your final pool. So you'll be rolling 6 dice, and you will be able to keep the top 3.
Am I also using my int dice?
For technology, yes, it is an int.
Okay, so my int dice plus a d6 and plus a d8.
Okay, so it'll be a d6, a d8, another d6, and another d8.
All right, let's see how this goes. Oh, that is so many ones.
Oh no, that's not good.
Okay, so nothing exploded, obviously, because it's lousy with ones, but
And you will
16.
subtract 1 from each of the ones that you roll.
Oh god. So 13.
Since I'm helping with this, can I spend 2 reverence for her to re-roll that?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, do that again, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you're like trying to piece this together, there's a moment where Agent Hart is just like, wait, hang on, there's a problem here, and sort of talks you through how to go about doing that. So if you want, you can reroll.
I had some explosions, so
Ooh,
I'm just
that's good.
dealing with those right now. Okay. 18.1.
Much better.
Yeah, way better.
So much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna take you a little bit. There's some trial and error, but eventually you do seem to be able to cobble together something that you feel you could send out as a frequency that would sort of act as like a counter frequency.
Okay. We're armed and ready.
I'd
I just
say
kind of
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna kind of say that I give the group a thumbs up once it's completed.
I think it takes about half an hour, give or take, just with having to sort of go back and do all of this. In the meantime, are y'all leaving the drone there? Are you calling it back? Is it that you want to do with that? And what will a Captain Kennedy and Lieutenant MacCern be doing in the meantime?
I do believe the lieutenant is just kind of perched on his makeshift barricade with his iron sights scoped right down the center of that hallway. Not really moving, and kind of leaving it up to Kennedy to keep the talking heads safe.
Yep. Just watching all the exits and entrances, I'm just kind of leaning over and going, you heard that voice too, right?
Did we hear the voice?
In theory, it's still playing over the computer as we're working.
Correct.
Over and over and over again.
Is it playing through the speakers or is it playing into our brains?
No, it is playing through the speakers.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Important distinction.
Question,
Let's
yeah.
not have that.
Yeah.
There's just a response of a very slow nod and a very loud clicking of the safety on
Yep.
Liam's gun.
Both just a nod between us and both making sure our weapons are ready to go.
Heck yeah. All right. And do you leave the drone there the whole time?
Was that message just continually on repeat?
Yeah, it does seem to just be repeating for as long as you.
Okay. I would have left it there long enough to see if it changed message at all, but after like 10 minutes or so, if it's just on repeat, I'm going to bring the drone back.
And I think about 5 minutes after you bring back the drone and the message has stopped, your phone's on vibrate, right?
Yeah.
Then why is it that you can hear your text alert going off? And again, and again, and again. Maybe about 16 or 17 times in total. No one else seems to react to it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so once again, while the nerds are finishing up that frequency burst, I am just going to discreetly take out my phone and see what's on there.
And just message after message after message, each one from a different number. I am waiting for you. I am waiting for you. I am waiting for you.
Okay.
You put your
Well-
phone away. Hang on. You put your phone away. And almost as soon as your hand touches your pocket, you hear it like behind your ear. Low growling sound with the fire crackling behind it. I am waiting for you. I am waiting for you. Over and over.
Okay. Yeah, with that, Hev's going to stand up, right his suit, turn his head just enough to make sure that there is not a giant, scary lion monster behind him.
Nope.
And, well, are we all prepared? Should we have it on in? It seems we have an invitation.
Liam will look over at Kennedy, then back at Hart, and say, I want all of you to have your weapons ready. And with that, Liam is going to take point and wait at the portal for everyone to gather.
Sure.
Jackson will take rear guard then. Just muttering under his breath, this is gonna go to hell.
Obviously, I do agree that precautions should be taken for our safety, but perhaps we should approach this as a possible conversation as opposed to a foregone confrontation. Good to be ready, but let's not go pointing guns at anyone until it's warranted.
Liam does not respond and instead takes a step inside the portal with this as he's pulling down his mask and also adjusting his night vision goggles for the impending darkness.
So you're turning them on or you're just prepping them?
I'm just prepping them, not
Okay.
putting them on yet.
Wonderful. And so Liam in the front, Jackson in the back. What does the marching order look like for our 3 non-combat?
I want to say I'm second to last because I have the laptop out and I'm ready to basically cue this this nullifying pulse if we need it.
And I think then Zach's probably like around the middle, since I think he would be staying closer to Zura.
Yeah, I would, excuse me, I would be up pretty much side by side or beyond MacCern if he wouldn't try to hit me again.
Kern is not letting anyone in front of him.
All right, well, I will be a half step behind then.
Certainly. And you proceed forward. Passing through this arch, there's no immediate physical effect.
Before we go on any further,
Yeah.
how many magazines was I given by Kennedy?
I would have probably picked up at least 4.
So maybe split down the middle, two and two?
Yeah, to each, yeah.
2 each.
Any ammunition for my other gun?
I probably would have picked up some for that. I would have thought so. I would guess I would know where his kind of
Yeah.
ammunition stash is. and make sure he's got everything he needs. And what I would like to do is, as we kind of pass through, I've got some chalk, and I just want to, on the wall, just today's date and time. Just going to make a note of that on the wall, and an arrow pointing which direction we're going as well.
Love that. I'm going to give you some reverence for that. I think
Oh,
that's
thanks.
fantastic. Wonderful. So good. Excellent. And so you proceed in, Jackson taking a moment at the back to write that out on the wall. And, well, there's no physical change. The first thing you notice as you walk into this hallway that by all means should not exist, except for Lieutenant MacCern, because of his mask, is the thick smell of brimstone and blood and oil. The wafts of paint and turpentine and ozone all sort of fall away, and what's left is almost overwhelming. It doesn't cause you to choke, but it's thick enough that you almost think you should be able to see it. It's everywhere. You know it's going to soak into your clothes, into your skin. Getting this off is going to be a nightmare. And you proceed down this hallway. Torches flickering on either side of you. Cold stone surrounding you until you reach the next arch. Very similar to the one behind you. This one is seemingly drawn out quickly, scratched and sketched. As you get closer, you see more of these small, carefully written words in ancient Aramaic. And Dr. Ryan, you can tell immediately these are not the same as what was said outside. This says, I am the one true God. Worship me. Praise me. Build upon my altar and flourish. And beyond
And,
that,
and Zach
darkness.
relays that to the rest of you.
Wonderful.
Another dimension. I knew it. I knew it. I just knew it. This is like, I mean, fire, brimstone. If this is hell, I might run into some friends, and I don't really fancy that.
Well, even if we run into something, I think that at this point we need to be able to find, if this is a portal to another dimension, find a way to shut it down.
I think at that moment, Hevard, the constant voice in your ear changes its tune. And it says, just once, before being noticeably absent, earn your place here and be accepted. And it is gone, but that crackling flame still remains. Zura, you can hear that first frequency. It is now clearer that these are meant to be spoken words. not in a language you comprehend. They repeat.
I would like to, since I have the laptop, I pause a moment and just kind of one-handed type in what these words are saying to the
Ooh,
best of my abilities.
I like that. Are you trying to like find a translator, or are you just noting them?
I'm noting them, but if they are starting to look like more than just gibberish, I will attempt to find a translator. Can I get internet in here?
I mean, you also have a translator depending
That's
on what the
fair.
words are.
That's
That's
fair.
true.
As I'm typing them out, though, then I'll gesture to Zach and I'll be like, "It's phonetic. I'm hearing this. Spelling may be incorrect, but what do you think?"
So looking it over, it's fairly easy for you to discern. It's that same ancient Aramaic, but perhaps a bit more mature as it grew closer to the languages that root from it. And it says, and it was, and it is, who creates life, who brings purpose, who completes.
And I think this time, rather than speaking those words out loud, as Zach has been translating most everything up until now, I think he just signs to Zura and lets her kind of type it out as she sees fit, if she sees fit.
Yeah, as he's signing, I'll try to do my best approximation.
Sure, absolutely.
Can I see down the other arch?
It's
Like,
just
can I
blackness.
if there's no way for Liam to see down, well, actually, Liam will attempt to pull down the night vision to look down that.
And you cannot see past them. It is completely empty, completely void, as far as your night vision can tell.
Liam will motion to Kennedy to come over to him and put out a hand for Kennedy to grab.
Yep.
And Liam will basically walk into the darkness only far enough to enclose himself in it, but not letting Kennedy's hand come into it.
Certainly.
Getting the idea that he obviously wants me to hold on to him, I'm just going to loosen and pop into my or make sure I've got into my belt loop so it's really close to hand. I have a pair of handcuffs.
Ooh.
So just making sure that they are ready so I could suddenly clasp them on if needs be.
Yeah, love it. Liam, you reach out. I assume you're going hand first and not head first.
Correct.
Gun first.
Gun
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, so actually that's a good point. So the
Yeah.
assault rifle would be slung back over his back and he'd pull out his sidearm.
Certainly. And as you put your hand into this darkness, you can feel what feels like a soft curtain. And as you move forward, it sort of envelops you and splays the two sides. Beyond that curtain, you see a chapel, the inside of one, large. Perhaps a church is a better term for it. Sprawling pews lining the back end where you are standing. Everything seems tinted just a bit red. At first, you wonder if perhaps it's an effect of the goggles, but even if you take them off, turn them off, or what have you, the red tint persists. Lining the walls are intricate, carefully crafted stained glass. On each of them, a different symbol. Some you can't recognize, but some are clearly iconography. Some are images of people. One, what looks like a man, arms splayed out, on his knees, chest ripped open, and a large spike rising from it. Another group of men and women surrounding something, tools in hand, hammers, wrenches, pickaxes, scissors. It's almost nonsensical. And there are a few more similar ones. A tree that seems to be bearing large silver fruit. But in the back, the largest of them, in the center, stands a figure, arms splayed, hands open. The visage of a lion's mane and face, looking down at you with a wide, deep-set grin, and behind him, a mountaintop that reaches off of the stained glass and into what seems to be a peak that leads to something above the church. It takes you a moment taking all of this in, and then your attention is snapped back, because now there are many sets of eyes on you. You notice these pews are not empty. There are maybe 24 people here. Well, mostly people. They seem strange. Parts of them are torn open, bloody. Muscle and sinew visible through what seem to be fresh wounds, and beyond that, bits of silver and metal where bones should be. Sometimes full arms, legs, portions of their core body, their midsection. Coated, maybe, swap? Who knows? With metal. And at the far end, empty, lies what seems to be a cobbled together, but impossibly large, 12 foot tall ruin? Most of one, at least. From where you are here, it's difficult to tell what, if anything, has gone into the making of this seat. But you can see the silvers and golds of metals, and what looks to be something pulsing red between the cracks of these metal bits seemingly shoved together. These people watch you, and one by one, each begin to smile. Not menacing, but pleased, content, as though you are a long-lost member of the family come home after a sabbatical. What do you do?
Liam is going to take one knee, put his sidearm back into its holster, and go over the intercom immediately.
You
So,
put your finger to the intercom,
mhm.
and you are immediately met with the same crackling sounds of fire, as though a fireplace that is on its last leg.
Liam will squeeze Kennedy's hand to let him know to release him before signing several contacts, possibly aggressive, several dead bodies as well.
In this instance, I think because of the speed at which you will need to do this and the distraction ahead of you, I will have you roll sign language, sign language intelligence, just to make sure you can get all this out.
Can we see him?
You can see his arm.
Gotcha.
The rest of him is beyond that darkness. It is quite literally like just the arm suspended in that inky black void.
15.8.
Yep, you're good. You managed to get all that out.
Jackson will curse under his breath and relay everything to the rest of the group. And with a kind of a, everyone stays back. We don't move until we get confirmation as to what the next move is.
And Liam, in kind of almost like an act of defiance, will just lean up against the side of the wall. Now he pulls his arm back in, like he has his arm now. And just lean up against the wall with his gun unslung but pointed down as he's overlooking all of this. But he doesn't move. In fact, he's seen things like this before and is not overly excited at this.
Well, after all the waiting and precaution that we've taken so far, that was incredibly reckless. Assuming that he's fine over there and not being ripped to shreds, though he may actually prefer that. Doctors, is this prose normally associated with a particular religion, being, cult? Can we get some background on what we might be dealing with or what they might be impersonating?
Could I do a religion check?
Absolutely, you can. I will tell you, it's going to be a high DC.
Okay.
I wish you luck.
I'm not quite sure I've caught it, but I have gotten 17.2.
I think I'll give you a partial success. So there are a number of different religions that would have utilized ancient Aramaic, and you sort of have to take some time and in your head sort of try and go through them. The one thing that really stands out is the statement, "I am God, the one true God. Worship me," which feels like it may be related to something found in the Old Testament when Moses brings to the children of Israel, the Jewish people, the Ten Commandments. I am the God, your one true God. You shall have no other gods than me. Do not worship false idols. Worship only me. Now, whether or not that is what this is, but it's the only thing that really seems to connect for you.
And so once again, Zach relays that and says, I mean, that I feel like that's only part of the story. Like, I feel like that is the closest I can think of. But it seems, I mean, it seems like there's maybe some other pieces going on here.
Okay, so given our line of work, what is the probability we're actually dealing with God?
I don't know. Zuri, you're good at numbers.
Slim. Unless you want to consider what we deal with on a daily basis to be gods, but I do not.
Right.
Have, do me a favor. Make me just a flat fate roll.
Okay. Cool. I have a whopping 1d8 in fate. All right, what do we got? D8.
What'd you get?
That, my good friend, would be a 1.
Ooh.
I saw that one coming.
Well, for a moment, you feel like you remember something that you had seen in your prior line of work that might be in at least some way related to the interaction between the Foundation and potential gods in whatever way they define gods, which may not be the same way you define gods. But that crackling sound in your ears is making it so hard to focus. You just can't pick it out. And don't know if this would be normal for Hev. Something about it is almost serene. Maybe you're not supposed to remember. Maybe that's not what has to be done here. Whether you entertain that thought or not is up to you. But it's there.
Well, given I am now working under a new employer, I have different steps to consider moving forward at this point. Foundation, prioritize, secure, control, protect. How do we secure, control something claiming to be a deity? We might have something we have made. Whether that remains active once we step through this threshold, who knows, given the interference.
Are you asking this out loud?
Yes.
Okay. well, something I've seen effective before is cutting off knowledge of it. Hard to worship a deity when no one knows about it.
Suppose that's one way to go. Hard to kill an idea once it's already out there, but leveling the building might help. Of course, we have a number of tenants to also consider.
We also have the artwork that they've been doing.
And my previous employment experience really leads me to believe that would be such a waste.
Then what are you suggesting?
Believe it or not, this is what I was hoping for all along, getting up, getting an idea of what we're dealing with, and seeing if it's something we could communicate with. If this thing deigns itself a deity, I don't think we're communicating on anything near level ground in good faith. So I defer back to everyone else, which was always my intent. But if we walk through there, from what I see, either we are talked in circles into doing whatever it is this thing may want, or more than likely, MacCern starts shooting. And I'm not sure how susceptible gods are to bullets.
Perhaps I am a skeptic, but I don't believe this thing to be a deity. Bullets may not be the answer, but something would be.
Oh, certainly. There is always an answer.
Liam would have a lot to say on this subject.
And I think Zach is just like definitely realizing he is like so far out of the realm of what he is used to that he's just kind of listening to this and is not contributing, since he would have said something similar to Zura, you know, had he offered anything. But I think in the back of his mind, he's not going to say it. He is thinking, well, if we want to stop this, it seems like we need to take away the worshippers. And he's concerned about what that might mean, which is why he is not saying that out loud.
Well, let me at least posit what I would do in my previous experience, and that would be to turn around, keep an eye on this place, maybe have some other representative or associate keep an eye on the individuals, perhaps bug rooms, perhaps pose that as a new tenant. Myself, keep an eye on this area while I, one, see if I could research more about what this is, and two, find some way to utilize it, or a buyer to utilize it.
Honestly, the best solution, I think, at this point is to evict the tenants and close the building off.
Do you think eviction is enough? It's hard to kill faith.
I mean,
Does seem to be a source.
Surely this is more about just closing this door, isn't it? You close the door, can't get through, job done.
Potentially. I did see this thing walking out during the day when presumably this gateway was not open. So unless it is already out in our world, closing the gateway might not be the end all of this.
Do you think this gateway is to just bring it more followers then?
Perhaps.
Meanwhile, Liam's lighting up a cigar.
Well, Cutting back to Liam. I think as you pull your arm through, these people, or at least mostly people, continue to watch you. Carefully, happily. And from on ahead, near one of the front pews, you see movement as a slender figure in a very basic looking sort of button down like blue and black plaid oversized shirt begins walking towards you. A woman, fairly young, brunette, with deep brown eyes and a wide smile on her face. And as she gets closer, it becomes clear to you you've seen this woman before. This is Charlotte Williams. But as she closes this distance, you notice some striking differences from what you were made aware of. Flecks of metal seem to run down her arm, and between them, cracks, fissures in her flesh, showing what look like veins, although as she gets closer, you notice it's not blood that runs through them, but that same black ichor. Her left arm seems to be completely cobbled together out of metal components. And she is slowly approaching you.
At about 20 feet, Liam is going to cock his gun and kind of not point it at her, but definitely put it into a position where it would be able to be raised very quickly, and says, "Miss Williams, stay right there."
Her smile, welcoming, excited, inviting, shifts to a somber smile, almost disappointment in her eyes as she sort of cocks her head. Her hands come up, open splayed towards you. And she goes, "Why?" But her voice has this mechanical twinge to it. It's a bit out of sort. It's almost enough to make her sound entirely inhuman. Distorted just a bit. Why?
Because I do not consent. And as Liam says this, he puts his arm back through the curtain and signs being approached.
There is nothing to fear here. We are not your enemy. We are not fanatics who will force you into the truth. There is nothing to fight here. And if you'd like, I'm certain we can find better uses for that. And she motions towards your gun.
I think I found the correct use for it. Thank you very much.
And we'll cut back to the group outside, seeing Liam's hand shoot back through the curtain and sign that.
Well, I don't speak wiggly fingers, so I don't know what he's on about.
He says that he's being approached.
Well, should I go through and have a conversation, or should we pull him back? Is his arm still waving around, sticking out?
It's holding in place until he decides to send another message.
Captain Kennedy, Mr. Kennedy, sir, what do you think?
Well, he's not given any sign that he's in danger. He hasn't come bursting back through, all guns blazing. And he hasn't asked us to come through, so at the moment, I think he's got things under control, but we need to prepare either to rush forward and help or to run like hell. Either way, we've got to be ready to... But I trust him. He knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. He's a cautious man.
As this is going on, Liam will sign send Hart.
And I feel like Zach catches that and just looks at Jackson, like kind of incredulously, and then just kind of shrugs.
Given that I've caught that as well, I actually hand Hart the laptop with no explanation, and I say, "This is the button," and I'll indicate which one is the kill switch. Looks like they want to send you in.
I guess you're up. Just if it's gonna go to hell, just give us enough time to get out.
Really,
And I assume now that my services have been requested by our de facto tyrant leader, that I now have no choice whether I walk through this curtain or not, because as I said, this is when I would turn around.
true. That's right. I am the tyrant.
You know as well as I do that you want to see what's on the other side.
I was this close to just stepping through, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to walk through.
And walking through, you see all the same things that Liam did, with one unique exception. You see that throne, most of a throne, on the far side of the room, in flame. They don't seem to be growing or dying. It is just perpetually in flame. And you hear it. In fact, what you've been hearing is loud now. Like you were standing in the midst of a building on fire, watching things consumed around you. You can feel the heat on your skin. You can smell a very unique smell of singeing, burning metals, burning flesh. What would you like to do?
I'm going to now I have this big laptop I'm holding on to. I'm gonna walk through.
Mhm.
I'm going to attempt to hand the laptop over to the lieutenant over there.
I'll take it.
Okay. I'll step forward. I will write my suit, make myself very pretty. I'm going to step right up to Miss Williams over there.
Sure. As you approach her,
Hold out an arm.
she looks down at your arm and up at you, and again that wide smile, and she steps in to close that little bit of distance,
I will beam it right back.
and her arms wrap around you in this big embrace, and she holds you for a moment, and then she steps back and lets you go, and her hands come to rest sort of on the sides of your arms, like just under the shoulders, as though she is taking you in. And then she lets you go and goes, Hevard, I'm so glad you made it.
Well, it's certainly a pleasure to meet you, Charlotte. I've heard so many good things.
It's very kind. I was worried I wouldn't get to meet you.
Oh, well, I wouldn't deprive either of us of that pleasure.
Are the rest of them coming?
With those lot, who knows? Eventually.
Does Hart turn around?
Yeah, he'll kind of look over his shoulder.
Liam is like
Mhm.
And every set of eyes is now on you. That's all right.
I'm not sure my new compatriots are very interested in meeting new company.
I was like that before. It can be difficult. People can be scary. We spent so much of our lives not knowing how to be with each other. Not that you have that problem. But they'll learn. It's not like that here.
Well, it's certainly comforting to be accepted, invited. You know, people back home are a little worried. You did disappear rather suddenly.
I know it may seem that way, but this has been coming my whole life.
You know, your father is quite worried.
I know. I wish I could share it with him. He's not ready. It would do more harm than good. But I can't deprive myself of this for his sake. One of the things that I've seen here is finding how we find that weight, that judgment of us and for us versus for other people. It's one of the many things I've come to understand so much better now. Yes.
As this is happening, Liam would like to activate the webcam and record everything that's happening right currently.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if possible, I don't know if it is, but link it to one of the other's phones, either make some sort of call or somehow.
You notice as you go to do that there don't seem to be there's no internet or Bluetooth or any other connections currently active on the laptop. I would, however, like you to roll me a fate.
Unlike some people, I actually put some points into this.
See, you say that, and all you're doing is priming yourself for failure.
Some people need to rely on luck and others don't.
Oh, I love y'all so much.
Well, one of my D8s exploded,
That's
which
good.
makes it into a
D10.
8, 9, that would be a 14.
Ooh, and no ones?
No ones.
Nice. Okay. What's your cognitive resistance?
Cog is 11.2. I do believe it's the second lowest.
Oh, beautiful. Give me a moment. You said 11.2? You see through the webcam, in the throne at the far end of the room, is an impeccably dressed gentleman, pure white gloves, sitting on what looks like a half-finished throne, significantly larger than any of you, both he and the throne, with a lion's face. And he just seems to be looking. It has to be at the webcam because the image has him looking directly at you. These deep, burning orange eyes. Liam, I have a question for you. What is a just truly dreadful memory that Lieutenant MacCern has?
Probably the first time he ever came across an SCP and he went into a flying rage and killed half of his friends who were turned by the SCP in question.
Oh, that's a bad one. You find yourself in that moment running through these things that were your friends. But it's overwhelming. There's so many, and they are not stopping. Death is barely enough to keep them down. And one by one, they pull their corpses back up and shamble towards you, a disoriented, sideways run, trying to throw their damaged corpses at you. And you forced to gun them down until you're out of bullets.
Remember, I didn't have any bullets by the time that happened. It was all by machete.
You're right. My apologies. You are forced to hack them down. And you feel it. You feel their blood covering you. You feel that hatred and that pain as these corpses of your compatriots wring you. And in that dark moment where you felt powerless and afraid, you feel a hand on your shoulder. And it's warm. And it's inviting. And it's hope. And you look towards it. And it's gloved. Pristine white. Now, with just a few flecks of blood from what is coating you. And you follow it. And you see this man. Because of course you do. He was there. With you. He protected you. He pushed you away as they charged, as they dragged them so. Putting them down for what you assume to be their final deaths. And then you fall. Exhausted, spent, hurt. Emotionally, physically, mentally. And he offers out this still pristine hand. Did you take it?
The hand?
Yeah.
I rolled a 12. And I
Mm.
was going to do a death save roll. I succeeded, so I will say no.
And he will smile down at you. And he will pull his hand back. And he will go, "That's all right. I will be here when you're ready. You are safe." And I think that's where we're going to leave off for tonight. Thank you so much to you amazing folks here in our cast. I love you all so much. And I hope that y'all had as much fun as I did tonight, because I had so much fun. Thank you to our incredible chat. Seriously, y'all keep it so fire all the time, and I cannot tell you how much we appreciate having y'all here. With that, I'm going to allow everyone to remind us who they played, who they are, where they can be found, and then I will do our outro, and then we're going to go raid one of our friends. Let's go in reverse order. So Zoe, let's start with you.
I am Zoe, or Zoe Trooper. I play Zura Von Brandt in this SCP, A Crumbling Foundation adventure. I'm gonna slap my light around. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me at Hollowed Haven Studios, and you can find me at Component Cast. All wonderful people. Check them out. Lots of different content. HSS deals more with like Vampire the Masquerade, White Wolf games. Component Cast right now has an amazing long-term D&D game that they're running, and soon to be Cyberpunk. And here there's a whole bunch of other great stuff going on, like D&D and SCP. So that's that. I can go on to the next person now.
All right, the Eye.
I am the Eye. I am playing Lieutenant Liam MacCern. And with this sudden blast of divine encumbrance upon him, something interesting might happen in the next opening of our campaign. So make sure to come by and see what Liam thinks of this whole thing. And we'll all see you then.
All right, Tal.
Hi, I'm Tal Woodblaze. I'm a TTRPG game designer. You can check me out mostly on Twitter at The Gamer's Rest, but I also have a Ko-fi where I have a monthly subscription service. And this month you can pick up a couple of great little D&D surprises, one of which is 101 pleasant-ish items for your game. Some are fun, some are stupid. I think one of the best ones is a staff of summoning miniature chickens, which I'm particularly proud of. You can also get an adventure there for your Christmas one-shots. So please go and check it out. And yeah, I've been playing Jackson Kennedy, the medic for this little group.
Right, Jack.
Yes, hello, I am Jack. Once again, thank you to everybody, including our fantastic GM here, Lion. It is a great time every time. I am so much enjoying it. I have been and will continue to be, hopefully, Hevard Hart in our SCP adventure here. That is until Lieutenant MacCern shoots me in the back. But until then, I will continue making friends with as many people and SCPs as I can. Just like my new close friend Charlotte now, apparently. I will keep this brief. You can find me all over the place. Come hang out with me on Twitter at RPGs Uncovered. I have a Discord that you can find the link to from there. I do a lot of my own stuff. I teach new indie TTRPGs, might be moving into expanding that out into larger games, more popular games that need to be better explained. Looking at you, Shadowrun. I'm coming one of these days. It's a big project, but I'm coming. I will be here every Monday that we are normally here, and then on Tuesdays, every Tuesday that we are normally over there. You can find me over at twitch.tv/Studio Tembo for some Star Trek adventure goodness. It is a great show. I play Captain Irani Ambrose, a fantastically neurotic transporter engineer, and a number of other characters as we fly through the Alpha and Beta quadrants, trying to make sure it doesn't all divulge into galactic warfare. So if any of that sounds fun, come hang out. I'm all over the place now. And let's wrap it up with JD.
Hi, I'm JD. You can find me on pretty much all social media at JD, not Jason Dean. You can find me here every Monday that we're streaming as Dr. Zachary Ryan. And you can also find me in a number of games with Live from the Apocalypse. Right now I'm in Class Reunion Winter Break, which is an urban fantasy D&D 5e homebrew. We will be going back to our usual Class Reunion homebrew in about, I guess, a month now, 3 weeks. And you can also find me in our Academy H actual play podcasts of Masks, where you can see me play a character who is even more of a mess than Dr. Zachary Ryan is, and that says a lot. So yeah, definitely check me out if you want to see those things, as well as all of the other things that are incredible that Live from the Apocalypse does.
And we love all of these different channels because they're amazing and they platform all these amazing people who we love. So always a thumbs up for that. Which reminds me, am I allowed to talk about the Live from the Apocalypse thing? Or can I not talk about that yet?
I'm not sure we can quite yet.
Okay, then I'm not going to talk about that. No one heard anything. Anyway.
I said nothing.
Yeah, nothing at all. I'm Lion. You can find me here as I am the ridiculous head of Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me over on Twitter at TheLionKnight42, as well as on most other, like, Hive, Mastodon, whatever all these other social media places that are popping up now that Twitter is slowly burning to the ground are. If you've enjoyed this, you can come hang out with all these people and more amazing people because we have a Discord. The link should be below in our About section. Come check it out, hang out, talk to us about the game. We're always down to talk about the game. Ask us why we did the things we did. Ask us why we didn't do the things we didn't do. How we came up with the characters we did. What we think of the system. Why we think Jack absolutely has to do an RPGs Uncovered on Shadowrun. All of these are valid things to do. If anyone could do it, Jack could do it. With that said, check it out. We'd love to have you. We're building a really cool community. We're going to have community games in the new year. We've had like 1 or 2 so far, but we're really kicking it into full gear in the next year. We're putting together like a whole weekend of leverage style heist games in different systems and settings. So that should be pretty cool. Also, if you've enjoyed this and you want to support us in any way, you can do that by going over to our Ko-Fi. We have a number of different membership tiers with some really cool stuff, ranging from naming rights for NPCs and locations, to getting the ability to check out our behind the scenes talkback shows, which we record once a month for each of the shows that we have running at any given time. We're going to be recording this one tonight, so that should be really exciting because we've had some really, really awesome stuff happen today. We also have free stuff. I'm sorry, we have one more thing. Is our membership tier. At our highest membership tier, you have the opportunity once a month to be picked to have a custom designed character in any system that you want. If we don't know it, we'll learn it so we can build it for you, talk over what you're looking for, help you craft a backstory, and it comes with art made by the amazing in-house artist Miss Moon, who we love so very, very much. Okay, with that, also, we have a YouTube. That's what I forgot earlier. I forget that half the time. I really have to stop doing that. We have a YouTube.
There's so many things to plug.
I know. We have a YouTube. Our YouTube has all of the shows that we've run up until this point, including one-shots, and it updates every week. Also, you can find Roll for Perspective on there, which is a cool little interview series that I do where I sit down with different game designers, creators, GMs, people in the TTRPG space to discuss a whole bunch of different things. On Wednesday, we're going to have a new episode up with Kendo from Tales Yet Told. I'm so excited for that. That was a great conversation. We talk a lot about Powered by the Apocalypse and then the power of narrative driven gameplay and a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. So please go check that out on YouTube. We are Tales from the Table Studios there as well. The link should be below. The big YouTube button, can't miss it. So you can go check that out. If you've missed any of our games and you want to get caught up, that's the best way to do it. Because Twitch only allows you to keep stuff here for a little while, and that's fine. It's fine. That's what YouTube is for. With that, I think I've gone over everything that I have to go over. Again, the banana will yell at me in a minute if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. So I'll stall for half a second so that they can tell me if I am. Great, I haven't said anything, so we're going to keep going with that. Great, we're good. Thanks, banana. So what we're going to do now is we are going to thank y'all again for being amazing. Both you amazing cast. I love y'all so much. And incredible chat. Y'all always keep it fire. We're going to go raid DMDM Studios, who is coming off in a couple minutes of a short break. Well, they're running Death Roll right now. It should be a good time. Please stick around for that. We absolutely love all of you. Remember to take care of yourself. Remember to love yourself. Do what you got to do for you. Always remember to tell your tale. Have an absolute